Welcome to Dununa. Welcome to the webinar. We will start soon. This is the waiting room. Health AI UX and why design matters. That is what we are talking about. We are Radency, networking and building relationships, building digital products that people love. Welcome to our webinar. Welcome to the webinar. We will start soon. This is the waiting room. Health AI UX and why design matters. That is what we are talking about. We are Radency, networking and building relationships, building digital products that people love. Welcome to our webinar.
All right, that's enough of the AI bad. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I hope we'll have some more people chime in later, but thank you. And actually, I got the idea for this event, and I've talked to a lot of people and who are building digital products in health technology. And one of the things that keeps coming up, and we've had webinars about compliance and software engineering. And what we've never actually done is look at the UX for angle and design elements of these kinds of products. Partly because I've heard some negative comments from people in the industry saying, why does everyone design things this way? We need better design. We need better user experience for using this technology. I don't have all the answers, but I've assembled a panel of people who all have slightly different experience in user experience and experience with health AI. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on our first speaker. Oh, by the way, I'm Jose Garcia. I'm an account executive. I work for Radency, and we build digital products in health technology. That's one of the reasons why we do these series of webinars, is to bring people together. And I'm not going to go on more about me, but if you want to talk to me about a health tech project or a webinar, you can get a hold of me after the event. Happy to talk to you. Can we bring on our first speaker? Now, Julian, I'm not going to go into his experience. He's worked for a lot of organizations, very high level, and he's going to open us up with the big picture view. And I wonder, Julian, if you could introduce yourself.
Sure.
Thank you. By the way, thank you for coming. Sorry, that was rude of me. That was a bit rude of me. Thank you for coming.
A pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. Well, introducing me in 2 minutes. Well, I'm a telecom engineer, work in IT consulting, spent 5 years in Korea working for the chairman office doing corporate strategy, and 7 years in Samsung Mobile leading business and product strategy across the portfolio. We're talking about an $80 billion business, but I was in charge of strategy. And I started to really focus on health and fitness at that stage, and got involved into wearable portfolio as well. And lately, the Ring, which got released in July. I left Samsung last year and started my advisory firm, and now I'm advising companies such as Flow Health, who has just completed its C series funding round actually a week ago. I think it was made public. And I'm advising Flow Health and the C leadership, the investors, the board of advisors on strategy topics related to health, AI, design. Well, that's me.
It's interesting actually you said that, but it's actually our very first speaker I ever recruited for a webinar was from Flow Health as well. Thank you very much for that. And I want to ask you, and we kind of like to set the stage before we get into the weeds. If you can tell us about how organizations can align user experience design with their product strategy and the rest of their business objectives.
Yeah, this is actually quite a complex question, but I would like to break it down into two different pieces, if that's all right. I'd like first to talk about um, the recent changes of UX and design because of AI, and then probably also focus on what's special or different when it comes to UX design, how different UX design is to be in a health space. And then we will probably think a little bit about innovation, AI innovation made possible in the health space and the impact on design. But if we think about the first one, how has UX design changed because of AI? Well, we have new forms of interactions now and communications that are made possible. So it's not so much a case of building great UI. It's also about building, designing chatbots, health assistants. And I can tell you that skills required to actually build a good chatbot, create a delightful experience is very different than the skills required to create a good user interaction. The design tools are different. The way of thinking is slightly different as well. If you think about UX and business, you can also think about task automation, and I would insist on that word, alleged productivity gains thanks to AI. So designers and strategists, for instance, can cut their research time by up to 30% because relevant information is accessible faster. You can also conceptualize a product faster, and decisions could potentially be made faster. There's a consequence to that as well, which is an interesting one to think about if we have a lot of designers here today, is think about design schools and think about academia. So how should academia rethink their curriculum? How to train future designers? What skills should they possess? What attitude should they have? Can we still craft good design, or is it just has it just become technical skills? All of that because of technology and AI. So that's just the first question. The first question about how UX and design have changed because of AI. Now, if we think about the health sector, if we think how special or different UX design needs to be in a health sector, well, I've got to think first about privacy by design. Privacy, because data is extremely sensitive in the health space. So you've got to embed privacy in all your design work. You've got to be proactive about privacy. You've got to make sure that whatever you communicate is visible and transparent. You become accountable. You've got to respect users for privacy as well. So that's one point. The other point that is important in the space of health, well, the health sector is heavily regulated. You can think of the EU AI Act. You can think of GDPR, CCPA, COPA. So you've got to think about everything that is collected, processed, what is shown, and make sure that what is said is basically carefully considered. So you've got to put in place processes and systems that will also affect the design team and how they conduct projects to make sure that the company is compliant and actually can pass security and legal audits. And just to finish, you also think about the innovations that are made possible because of AI in the health space. And there's a lot going on here. So, for example, in Apple, because I'm coming from Samsung originally, you can think of fall and crash detection. Fall is in the field of health, which is made possible thanks to AI. If you think of NVIDIA, you've got medical imagery that will help detect cancer and post-surgery complications. You can also think of emotions and human behavior intelligence that can be measured scientifically, or just think about AI fitness coaches and health companions. All these innovations need to be wrapped up in a design language, and that's going to be interesting to see how designers will cope with that, really. Because today many solutions are not where they need to be from a design standpoint. That's perhaps a long answer to your question.
That's good, actually. That's excellent. And I want to ask you, this is a two-parter, is when people are developing these kind of products, is it really important to differentiate? And if it is, um, what kind of, how do you, are there strategies that people can use from a design perspective to stand out, to differentiate?
Yeah, it's a good question, but the first one, is it important to differentiate? If you don't differentiate, consumers will not know what to choose. So you've got to give them a reason to come to your brand and buy your product and services. So differentiation, irrespective of health and AI, is important. But when we think about differentiation in a health AI product, um, we have to ask ourselves who cares, or who would it benefit. For example, recently in the field of, well, in the space of startups and scale-ups, many institutional investors want to hear AI in a pitch. AI and the stuff that is behind will help you differentiate from another competitor seeking money, for example. And a good AI strategy will help also increase your valuation, right? But if you think differentiation in terms of consumers, that's an interesting one, very interesting. Most consumers are curious, but frankly, many are concerned as well, particularly in the field of healthcare. There's a Pew research that was published a few months ago on the topic. One of the things that was studied that struck me when I read it that was most Americans who have heard of AI don't trust companies to act responsibly and think that it will lead to unintended use. So don't think of AI as a magic pill that consumers will happily swallow. Absolutely not. And perhaps that's also because I'm deep into this field, but I can predict there will be also an AI fatigue, much like there was the word smart, a smart fatigue a few years back, because many companies actually use the word smart, but the products will stay the same. And yeah, so everything seems to be powered by AI, but nothing changes except prices will go up because AI is not cheap. That's not going to be something consumers will be happy to buy. Companies are basically not delivering on their AI promises yet. And it's an interesting time because if you look at what happened on Monday, part of the reason the New York Stock Exchange went down was because tech companies did not deliver on the AI promises. And I think this will also trickle down on at the consumer level. But now, if you think about strategy, I would really honestly recommend to go back to basics, like focus on the value the company needs to give to its customers. If it's powered by AI, then great. Also think carefully about the value versus cost trade-off, because implementing AI, some forms of AI are extremely expensive. So make sure that you create value in the process. Otherwise, just stick to what you're doing. To focus on your brand DNA, really, your mission statement, your value proposition. You should already be different from competition, but if your mission statement is well laid out. So make sure that any AI-led feature or product development follows that value proposition, and you will still be different. And finally, perhaps certainly difficult last year, resist the temptation to copy your direct competitor. Because if the value created is not clear, it will not serve your company purpose. So these are my three advices that I would give.
Excellent. You know, we're going to do that. One point you mentioned about controlling your cost. I'm doing a whole event on this in September on the 4th. Keep your eye out. I haven't announced it yet. Julian, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And we're going to, if you could stay, we're going to send you off into the ether. But if you could stay there, Jim, we're bringing you back for Q&A. And we could bring on Yehevnia, who works with me. Hello, Yehevnia.
Hello.
And yeah, I wonder if you could. I don't know. We've had her on web. We've had you in a webinar before, but we've had some people here who may not have seen you before. So I wonder if you could introduce yourselves. Sorry, yourself.
Of course. Thanks, Jose. Uh, Thank you for the webinar. So I'm Evgenia. I'm a UX designer at Radency. So Jose and I work in the same company, which is a pleasure. So my specialization is creating digital interfaces. So as a UX designer, for non-designers, I should explain that I not only create attractive visuals or select colors or elements placement, I think through the whole process of my users using the product that I created. So I think about, is it easy to use? Is it convenient for users? Is it clear enough? And how the features will work. And so my task is to ensure that every feature, every element is placed where users expect them to be, that users can get their results out of this interface, and that interface meets their needs and expectations. So my role is to understand user needs and business goals, of course, and to combine them in the easy to use and accessible interface with pleasing visuals, of course.
Thank you for that. You have me out. Now I want to ask you a couple of questions, and when keep in mind that we have two types of people in the audience. Founders of health tech companies. Some people are like still early or they've just launched. And the other half are people who are making a buying decision. Maybe like on the clinical side. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit, talk to us a little bit about feedback, the role of feedback in iterating and improving the UX of health AI products. What do people need to know about managing that process?
Uh, Okay, so user feedback is essential in the design process. So we do not design products for ourselves, not for designers, not for business owners. We create products for users to use. And to be sure that this product meets users' needs and meets their expectations, and that it is easy to use for them, not for us. We need to show it iteratively during the design process again and again to show it to our users and get their feedback and see how they are going through the interfaces, if they have any struggles, if they have any doubts. So this feedback and this process, it's iterative. We create features, we design them, we show them to users when they are still as a mockups. They don't need to be even in development, or they don't need even to be launched to be tested by users. So we show them to our users and we see how they deal with them. And then we can have a feedback. For example, we can see that they have struggles in some parts of the interfaces, so we can improve these parts. They pay attention to some of the features which they think are essential for them. They don't pay attention to other features, so we can prioritize the features. We can improve the features. We can improve the pain points for our users in the interface. So this is essential. And as UX designers, or if we're business owners, we are a bit biased. We are very familiar with our interface, but the thing is that we are not going to use it. We create it for users. So if they struggle using it, it is not going to be a success. We need to show it to get a feedback, to improve it for them, and then we are sure that it is going to be a success. This is the process, and it is essential.
I want to ask you, like, one of the things I've heard, maybe you don't agree with me, or is when you have AI used in healthcare context, one complaint or one issue some people have raised is how the data is communicated back to the user. So, can you tell us about the importance of communicating and visualizing data when you're dealing with health information that's easy for them to people understand and accurate?
Yes, it is a great question. So in healthcare, especially, we have a lot of data to communicate and a majority of different users to communicate this data to. So the first step is to analyze our audience to understand who our users are, if they are doctors, patients, nurses, administrators. So, and each group of these users has their specific needs. So I'm sure everybody has ever received the lab results, and this piece of paper is usually designed for doctors. So as a patient, I look at it and I don't understand a single number. I don't understand if I'm okay, if I'm not okay, what's happening. So it is for doctors. Doctors know what it means. As a user, I would appreciate if there is a single stamp on this piece of paper saying that I'm healthy, and so I would be glad. So this is a data visualization, and once we understand who are users, then we can understand what information is essential for them and how they expect to see it. And the other thing is, in the UX design, there is a law that our users spend 99% of their time on other websites. So we need to be sure that our interface is similar to those. So our users expect our interface to be similar to that 99% of other websites. And when we understand all of this, we can analyze the data that we have. We can um, extract the essential information, and then we can start showing it and visualizing it. So we start from essential information, and also the key is to make sure that it is displayed in the simplest and easiest to understand way, that it shows gradually. So for example, we start from some generic information, and then our users can go deep into the details. And we need to be sure that it's interactive, that our users can filter or sort the information by their needs. And so this is mostly the whole process of visualization. We need to understand for whom we design it, which features are essential, and then we should present it in the simplest way. And we need to use the proper data visualization type. So we can use tables, lists, charts, and necessary chart type. So we have this is the process to have the clear and easy to understand dashboard or any piece of data for our users.
I was actually really struck by this because I was actually someone close to me, I won't go into the details, showed me their test results. It was just a piece of paper, and it's all these acronyms. I don't know what these letters mean, and then numbers next to them. And it was a whole 2 pages of it. And then it said, "Oh, apparently that's good."
Yeah.
Okay, it means nothing. So they just print off this piece of paper and then hand it to the patient, and then they just say, "Here's your test results. Don't worry, it's good. It's great." I mean, you can't, it's you can't click on any of these things and find out what they mean. I wonder if you give us some tips. So, common UX challenges that people are facing when they're building these health AI products, and what advice you have, or what kind of key takeaways you want to give them.
Yes.
I guess this is kind of going to be for the people who are in the founders and the solution provider side of the audience.
Yes, so the common challenges, first of all, is the amount of data, and we need to be sure that it is clear. We show only essential data and necessary. And so this is part of the previous question. We need to show it clearly and accessibly for everybody. And another big challenge is users diversity. So we create these products for a vast majority of users. So they can be, again, doctors, administrators, patients. And if they are patients, it means that they are literally everybody. And when we design for everybody, it means that we need to make sure that it is as accessible as possible and as easy to understand as possible. And this leads to compliance and regulations. We need to be compliant with them. So as designers, we need to familiarize ourselves with compliance first, and then we start designing products that are compliant. And if we are talking about AI healthcare products, I think the greatest challenge is trust. Because we all heard these stories about ChatGPT and lawyers that they can provide you with the wrong information that then have affect the whole outcome, and the outcome is unpredictable, and we all know this now. So when we use the healthcare product, we design healthcare product, we need to be sure that our users trust us. But when it's AI healthcare product, this is the essential question about the trust. And how to accomplish it is to show we need to be transparent on how this AI technology achieved these results that we are showing now to our users. We can show them, or we can provide them with additional information, maybe other links to this related to this topic. And we need to be sure that our users are aware of this AI mechanism, that they know about this algorithm and methods that we use. And also we can provide them with, of course, explanations, and not only, we can also provide them with feedback mechanism and to be sure that they can leave their feedback, and also to improve AI models over time. So this is, in my opinion, the greatest challenge, to get their trust.
Thanks, Yevgenia. We're sending you away. We're bringing you back to the Q&A. By the way, if anyone has a question, don't wait till the Q&A to start. Put it in the chat. And I can't, I'm going to bring on our next speaker. She's just down the road for me in Spain. Not literally, but figuratively in Spain. Hello, Trini.
Hi,
Thank
hi,
you for coming.
Jose. Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure. I'm so thrilled to be here with this amazing panel. And yeah, I've been taking notes because they have said a lot of interesting things. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
I wonder if you introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm Trini. As Jose was saying, I'm close to him because I live in Spain. I'm a UX consultant and a senior product designer for over of 7 years. I've been working for scale-ups and consulting firms and corporates in the USA and in Europe. Initially within the tech industry, but now I have shifted to the health tech industry, especially in my latest job as design lead and advisor for Remote Care. That is an innovative mental health pre-seed startup. I worked there for a year, and I gained a lot of insights that I will be sharing with you, and a lot of user feedback, and a lot of how AI works for the industry. And now I'm just embarking on a new challenge that is launching my own tech product design agency with some colleagues, health space, that it will be focused on these cutting edge projects and helping founders. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Trini,
Yeah, I have
you
a
have slides.
prize. Yeah, I have a
You have
slide.
slides.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah,
show us?
probably. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna share my screen. Probably, I cannot share my screen. Will stop others' computers down. Do you want to continue? Okay, sorry if I mute yourself, but um, so
Are you
yeah,
able to do it?
yeah, I am.
There we go.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this in presentation mode. So, can you see
We
my
got it.
screen?
It looks great.
Okay, great. So, as I was saying, I probably am a very visual person, and when it comes to design, I wanted to bring best practices and clear examples of what we are talking to decode this role of UX and AI in the digital health. So yeah, I've been introducing myself. I won't do it again. I just forgot to say I'm learning more about AI and digital health now. I'm taking a course in the Imperial London College about digital health to just keep me in the loop. I
You
just
never
want
stop learning in this business.
you never
Everything
stop
moves
learning.
so quickly.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. And I think that we all learned personally and professionally from COVID-19. And I think it was a turning point in the industry and for the evolution of all the digital solutions. We've seen that after COVID, how many startups and companies have exploded and ballooned, and how the number of VCs investing in healthcare have just raised, and it's not stopping. So, but what we can learn from all this experience that we learned during the pandemic, I just took some data that was like really interesting to dig deeper on this. But during COVID and after COVID, the telehealth usage increased by 154%. Of course, we couldn't go into face-to-face hospitals or clinics, so telehealth was the option. So it just increased immensely, and from that experience is where patients and practitioners get used to these new interfaces, and now they're more confident to use these digital solutions. Also, talking about AI, we cannot forget about the role that AI played in aiding the vaccine development. So even Google's DeepMind AI worked or helped to predict some protein structures. So the AI revolution came into place as well. And other topic is like wearables and all these devices that are monitoring and helping monitoring our health and how is our lifestyle going, or blood pressure, sleep. Are we sleeping well? Are we walking enough? So all these wearables are just they increase their sales in by 30%. So these are just some numbers that I wanted to bring to contextualize where are we here and why this is getting so not trendy, but so relevant in the industry. So I'm just gonna talk about 3 trends or UX trends. And I want to point out that something that Julian say about we have to think when we work or when we want to design an AI solution, we need to think of why AI, right? Who is this technology going to benefit? Because in the end, there is some resistance from some consumers when we still say the word AI. So it's not that magic. I just took a note. It's not that magic pill users will swallow that easily if we don't build and design for trust, right? So trust is another word that Giovanni was saying. So how could we design for trust if we are creating any health app? Well, to me, it's essential to keep the experience as warm and personal as possible. Of course, we are working with technology, but we need to blend that smart technology that's behind, consistently ensuring that the user is feeling supported and understood in a way that it's they feel like cared, and we have to balance this human touch with AI, and being able to create comfortable interfaces is really important. Also, you mentioned something really relevant when you explain your situation with the blood test. If we don't create comfortable interfaces and user-friendly experience, it can be counterintuitive because we can create anxiety instead of being supportive to users. Because if I don't, and that's why explaining data in a comprehensive way is so important. So building non-intimidative design solutions is really important. And I want to bring this best practice example. I don't know if you know it, but it's called Sound. It's top rated in App Store, and it's monitoring your mental fitness health. But the interesting part of this is how welcome and how user-friendly is this tool design, not only by using illustrations, that is also a nice way of doing it, but by using voice AI as an interface. Because when you're talking about your emotions and your feelings and you want to explain how you're feeling, the best way sometimes is not texting, sometimes it's just speaking to that other interface, and to build this trust. And also trust will come by giving you back results validated clinically through M3 checklist assessments, like being compliant and following clinical assessments is also really, really important. So just some key principles that we can learn: simplicity and clarity. We, of course, always need to design intuitive environments. Accessibility is really, really, really important. We can be targeting general population, but we have to bear in mind that there can be people with any disability that would need to have this accessibility in hand with our interfaces. And then personalization. I will talk about this, but I think when we talk about health, we want to, and I'm a patient or even I'm a practitioner, I want to personalize my recommendations to my patients, and patients want to know how they can improve based on their data. And of course, this is leading us to a second trend, that is predictive analysis, right? We are talking about data, complex data, AI, and AI is a revolution in a way of how it can bring great accuracy, predicting or translating or predicting disease care management. So how can we design based on data in a good way is really essential. So because doing this is a way, if we leverage data in a good way, we will see that the health outcome, and we will be enhancing patient care in a nice way. So always insights have to be understood in a comprehensive way, provide clear action steps. So, okay, this is your result. Giovanni was mentioning how can we present complex data, even using like color coding or giving more explanatory links. But then, okay, this is your result, but I'm gonna be accompanying you to give you clear actionable steps to get you in a good shape, right? So I'm bringing another example that's called Ada Health. You might probably know this app, but it's a predictive symptom checker. So it's not only empowering health providers, but users as well, making timely and fact-based informed decisions. So basically, again, we are talking about chatbots or interfaces that are simulating conversation design, right? So you can ask Ada simple and relevant questions, and thanks to AI, is going to compare with thousands of similar cases and bring you back after assessment, like real value, and it's going to go to the point and tell you what can you have or triage you, but it's not only going to give you the response, it's going to suggest you what you should do next. So clear actions is really important. So again, clear data visualization. This is another example from Health Sync, disease management app. So make data visualization really simple and using tooltips. Simplify complex health data is the huge challenge here. Customizing navigation, allowing users to switch views if they want to see weekly or if they want to see daily, adding filters, adding options to personalize your view and navigation is really important. And I will just go to the last one, which is personalized recommendations. So AI is meant to automate relevant recommendations for each patient, right? And this is going to benefit us because the more personalized we make the experience through design, the better the patient engagement and adherence is going to be, right? And at the end, as a startup or as a company, one of the key indicators for our success is always going to be engagement, reduce the churn rates, improve adherence, etc. So I'm going to bring one of the last examples that is called Motix, that is personalizing your journey for recovery, right? And this is one of the most used apps, again, in the app stores, because it's combining the use of features such as camera, video, with a library of more than 73 exercise movements that you can do based on what's happening to your health situation. So again, offering customizable dashboards through your recovery process is really important. And you can see like clearly, okay, I can start the session, I can consult the physio, oh, this is how many squats I have to do. And it's also like gamifying the process. So yeah, just to wrap up, this is Zoe nutrition app. Again, we are talking about progress tracking, personalization, user-friendly data. And why do all this matter? I know we are talking not only to founders, but to designers and to many type of audiences here. But after COVID, the industry has been getting more competitive, and the number of startups and company doing similar or wanted to do similar solutions is increasing. So it's kind of it's gonna differentiate your startup. But I'm gonna go back to what Julian say, is not using AI because it's gonna bring you more money or it's gonna look good in your pitch, is because you have to introduce user research, feedback from user to the way that you're really creating value and you're improving the patient outcomes, because you're going to create that engagement and adherence. And at the end, it's all about user trust. It's all about users trusting you as a solution to solve. It's not aesthetics, it's impacting people's life at the end, because health matters and design matters for that. So that's all.
Thank you. And
So
we're gonna have
sorry
we're
if
gonna,
I just sorry if
oh
I
yeah.
just get over 10 minutes, but yeah.
Oh, it's okay. We may have to go back to some people. So I know we've got a couple of questions here. I don't know if we're gonna have time to answer them all, but if we don't answer your question in the Q&A, we'll answer we'll get back to you. We're gonna bring our last Julia. Thank you. Another
Thank you,
person in Spain.
Jose.
Julia's not Spanish, but she is in Spain too. Hi, Julia. I wonder if
Correct.
you can introduce yourself. I'm sorry, we're
Yes,
gonna have to rush you. We're
no
gonna have to rush
problem.
you. This is one of the dangers of going last. I should have warned
No
you.
problem at
Happens
no
sometimes.
problem at all. I will try to be very brief in my speech. So, thank you so much for hosting me as a speaker today. I'm very glad for being here. And yeah, I'm Julia. As Jose mentioned, I'm based in Spain, but I'm Italian. I'm a biomedical engineer, and I've been working in the medical device industry for more than 6 years now, and especially in the regulatory and quality area. And currently, I'm working in a software medical startup that is based in Spain. That's why I'm here in Spain. And basically, in this startup, we are developing and manufacturing a software as medical device containing artificial intelligence. So that's why I'm very interested in the AI topic. And I just want to briefly describe my role as regulatory and quality in a nutshell. So, and this is linked to what Julian mentioned before. So, the healthcare industry is a very highly regulated industry. So, we need to identify, to study, and to implement the regulatory requirements, standards, all these kind of requirements that are applicable to the type of device that we are developing in order to be able to bring to the market a safe device. So I'm adding an extra word, very compliance word is safety, and also ensuring that this device is performing as expected and is not affecting the users and patient in a negative way. So to reduce risk to patient and users of the device.
I think uh, and I understand there's a lot of health tech companies in Barcelona, but the I wonder if you could tell us what is the role when you of Q&A and RA when you're sitting around the table in the early stages of developing a product? What are you speaking to? What are all common things that you're saying to people when you're having those early conversations?
Yeah, that's a good question. Basically, is trying to collect all different type of requirements that we need to implement in the device. So I talk about the regulatory requirements, but then there are like user needs. There are all kind of requirements that we need to implement. And when there is like this roundtable between regulatory, quality, product development, we need to be sure to include all these kind of requirements in order to bring to the market a device that is, again, safe and performant, because we really need to think about, customer satisfaction, that is very important, but also like we don't want to have a negative impact on safety of patients. So this is the key aspect.
I'm wondering, what we could do before we go to the Q&A. There's a question here. It's addressed to you, Hevnia, but I'm wondering if you can answer it too, Julia. And I'm focusing. It's so what UI UX design elements can help build trust and transparency in health AI systems. Do you feel comfortable answering that question, Julia? Or is
Yeah,
that
actually, yeah, because I was taking note while the other speaker were talking because I wanted to bring a regulatory and quality perspective on the user experience topic. So I was noting down easy to use, clear to use, selection of users, and the inclusivity topic, and design for trust. And also, I had this about the main challenge of AI in health tech is about trust. And actually, I was reading a few days ago because FDA recently posted together with Health Canada and the UK regulatory authorities guiding principle related to transparency on AI-enabled medical devices. And in this guidance, they are stating that it's very important the human-centered approach in the in developing AI medical devices, and also what we call transparency of the outputs of AI includes visualization of data that has been mentioned before, interpretability and explainability of the output. And this is very important to boost the trust of the medical device being used. And I've seen different ways of, for example, make an output of AI explainable. I would say that the easiest example would be an AI software that is analyzing images to detect breast cancer. And in order to explain the output to the users, one of the, let's say, common implementation is to, well, including the output of the software, the image analyzed by AI with like bounding boxes in order to show where is the area with cancer. And these bounding boxes like explain the where of the AI model's prediction. So I think this is very important because users need to understand the data that they are receiving, and also if they are receiving images, what they are looking at. So this is my point of view.
Can we bring all the speakers back on the grid? Thank you very much, Julia. Don't go away. And I know we have one of the questions. I wonder if you could address that about
Yeah.
building trust and transparency. And my Zoom client is frozen. This is the only question I can see. I know we have other ones. It froze. My Zoom client froze during the webinar. It's never happened before. And then we're going to go around the table. So this is the theme. I mean, I think this is every speaker has brought this up. Trust. And it comes up. I mean, I saw yesterday on Twitter, there's a big lawsuit involving AI. There's a trust issue. How do we build trust and transparency? So this is a question from Edward. I'm going to give it to you, and then we're going to get Julian and Trini to comment from their perspective as well. If you can answer it quite quickly, we're running up against a clock now. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Julia, and I can add to it that in these bounding boxes, we can also include that this data was gathered by provided by this clinic, or by this number of similar cases, or by this number of similar um, images. And also very important is to have somewhere in settings to have a setting so users can adjust their preferences. They can for example, toggle on to share their data only with their doctor, or to include their data in the AI research. And this is very important. And also, we should explain if they include their data in their research in AI analytics database. We need to explain how we are using this data, that this is still secure. We still don't share the private data. And how it works, all of these toggles and bounding boxes are very important to explain how it works and how we use it and how we get it.
Julian, do you want to comment? Can you hear me? Hello?
Sorry, is it Julian or Julia?
Julian. Sorry.
Uh,
Sorry.
it's okay. Same name. No, I think what's been said is accurate. Actually, you have many different levers to create trust, and you should actually activate all of them. So one of them is to look into the setting section or the profile section of an app, and make sure that you give users transparency and control. If they want to opt out, they should opt out. And they should also make sure that, well, the app maker should make sure that access to the app remains completely full. and is not reduced because you've opted out from giving away data. So
Oh,
that's
big
privacy
one.
by design. I mentioned privacy by design. You should really, people in the audience should go back to this. It's a very powerful framework to think about. But then you also have to make sure that your legal documents are not written by lawyers, but they are actually written by people who can translate legal language into something that consumers can read and be educated about. Apple does a great job there, but many companies in the healthcare space or in the femtech space don't do it well yet. You've got to communicate about it, and if you share data, you also have to make sure that you explain to people why you're sharing data. If you're sharing data, for example, to advance research, because research in a certain area has been underfunded. For example, in the case of women, there's not been enough women research in the health space. Research has been made by men for men most of the time. So if you need data to advance women research, then communicate about it. And again, give consumers options to share or not to share. Always in a way that is educational, easy to act on, opt in, opt out, toggle. And throughout the app, make sure you've got a safe and secure environment or feeling. Perception matters. So if you only do that at the profile or setting level, you'll still lose consumers who actually don't go there. I don't go often into a profile or a setting section. So you may want a tagline, you may want visual cues, you may want a hot tip section, you may want a virtual assistant that talks about privacy. There's a lot of things from a UX and design perspective that should be done to increase trust.
Thank you, Julian. Sorry, I've had to move my mic up and down because I can't actually mute myself. Trini, I know you touched on trust in your presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree, like giving users the power to, or the control to manage their own data is really important. And of course, many times the company is ensuring that the data is encrypted and everything is compliant, but how can we inform users that that's happening in a language that they do understand is also really important. And I always think that partnerships and partnering with clinical organizations or clinical institutions that can verify our user flows, or at least we can refer to them. It's a way of building trust, right? Like this is backed up by this organization or a specific let's say if we are talking about a cancer management diagnosis tool, maybe we can partner up with some NGOs that are experts in the matters. And always, I think like verifications by experts is important.
I know from experience that NGOs are really important in the cancer space. Well, we are out of time, everybody. I know there's 5 other questions, I think. We're going to get back to you. I'm going to, with answers to those questions. I'm sorry we ran out of time. Anybody wants some advice or about building a digital product or webinar, feel free to get in touch with me. We are out of time. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be doing another event in September.